down the road. I don't think this country actually has a plan for 20 years down the road. If we are, then tell me what we're investing in. Is it infrastructure? Is it our kids? Is it our manufacturing plants? I don't know what it is. So I won't make a decision based on getting me reelected, and I will not make a decision based on political correctness. Because it's the same thing as being, what's going to get you reelected. Do I have time to answer questions? I would love to take any questions you have for me. Like I said, I want to earn your vote. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything. If I don't know it, I either ask you to explain it to me, or I'll tell you I'll find out. Because I do like doing research. So any questions you have at all, I'd be happy to answer them.
Where did you go to school?
High school and college. I went to high school still, went to Missouri for a year, and I finished up in 2010 with my associates in business from OSU in 2010.
Have you been in the military?
No, sir. I was just raised with being white.
Mark, you were talking about a plan. I think Congress probably don't have a plan, but to me, as I view the situation, apparently there is a world plan somewhere to create world socialism, and they use our congressmen to obtain these objectives. And the congressman's objective is just to get reelected every term. It appears
what it appears to me is just guys sitting back. It appears we have a Democrat Party that does have an agenda. They have a socialism agenda. And we have a Republican Party that has a reaction plan. We're going to react. And then we're going to use the word compromise. So you can't constantly react. You've got to be proactive. In business, I've got to be proactive. But we're so afraid that we're going to make mistakes as a Republican Party that we're too afraid to move. You know, I have a management team and a leadership team that's awesome. And I never get upset at them for making a mistake. Because if you're constantly in your comfort zone, then you're not pushing. You're not stepping outside your boundaries. You're not willing to grow. And when you grow, sometimes you might make a big mistake, you might make a little mistake, but when you do it, at least you know which direction you're going in, because that's why you're going that way. So at least there's a plan, and can you learn from your mistake, and can we carry on? But we're so much into our cocoon, we're so much wrapped around this, that the Republican Party has been reactive for so long that we're okay with giving 10% here, and 10% here, and 10% here, and 10% here, and before they chop our Constitution up, you sit there and go, where did that even happen? I mean, the Constitution is like the Bible to me. It's not open for interpretation. And yet, because the Democrat Party's had a plan, and the Republican Party hasn't, we're ending up with this mix, and we're at a pivotal point, at a strong pivotal point. And I don't believe we have time to have anybody setting up there pacing themselves. I believe we've got to get up there and be willing to work on both sides of the aisle and have a direction and a business plan and know where you're headed. Yes, sir.
Is there any congressmen that are presently serving that you think would share some of your views?
Well, I got to be honest with you. Some of my views, yes. All of my views, no. Because we had a large group of elected officials when this whole budget thing was going on that compromised themselves, including our own delegation. And I had a problem with that. I had a problem with them willing to compromise themselves for whatever purpose, whatever reason. But, I mean, Langford, Congressman Langford, he sets up there as a guy that had no way of knowing what Congress was. He'd never been around it. He'd been a youth leader and a youth pastor for his career. And he goes up there and he's been able to stand in the doorway against regulation more than anybody else up there. If you pay attention to Fox News or C-SPAN, you're constantly seeing two people on the news because they're willing to take a stand, and that's our Senator Coburn and that's our Congressman Langford. Where's everybody else? The way I understand it, there's another 449 people in the House, another 99 in the Senate. But why do you keep hearing those two? Because I feel like both of those aren't up there for re-election.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you thought there was others that shared your goal.
On, you talking on regulation?
Yeah, on regulations and.
Steve Womack from Northwest Arkansas, he's been extremely friendly to me. He understands it. We have talked on more than one occasion. Of course, Langford has. Lucas actually has quite a bit. Pete Sessions from Texas has, we've had multiple conversations on regulation. You get so many people that stand in front of you, and even in some of our debates that we've had, even some of our forums, we've had people stand in front of us and ask us the same question, and one question always gets asked is, how are you going to get this economy back on track? And the response is constantly taxes, taxes, taxes. Well, I'm telling you, as a business owner, taxes are horrible. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the taxes. But I can budget for taxes. I know a formula. You can't budget for a mandate or a regulation. You have no idea what it's going to cost you. And so before you can talk about, and the reason why I get so heavy on regulations and why I've had so many conversations with these other people about it, is because they also understand before we can really seriously talk about the economy and get this economy back on track, we've got to get these regulatory agencies that have no oversight, that nobody's paying attention to them, that can come in and write me a $37,000 fine for replacing your silcock because I didn't have you fill out the proper paperwork because your house was built before 1978. Anybody aware of that? Howard, you aware?
We run into the same thing from the EPA on houses built prior to 1978. The lead.
Houses that are built before 1978, if I go into your house and I cut a certain size of hole in this wall or the closet, and I don't run a lead test, and I don't have you sign a paperwork that looks like you're signing on a second mortgage, and I don't properly tape off the area and treat that as a hazardous material, and I don't dispose of it and keep the records for 10 years, I get a $37,000 fine per occurrence. And what's crazy about that is I can train all our employees to do it, and they can have the training, but they don't get to fine, the company gets to fine. So I can have one employee that's mad at me, they can go out there and do all this. If you have these stupid fines like that, how do you expect this economy to get back on track? And so we've had serious conversations with Pete Sessions and Steve Womack and Lucas and Langford about this, and others. But yes, they understand what regulations are doing to us and why it's important for us to go after them. You know, and national health care, guys, which I haven't even touched. And the reason why I'm not really touching national health care is because I'm feeling like maybe our judicial system may make a point here, and they might do something right for a change. Because if they don't, then regulation will take a back seat, and national health care is going to take a front seat for me. Because if you have over 50 employees, you're in a mess. And if you don't have 50 employees, 49 is going to be as high as you go, because you won't be able to afford to go past that. So there's several, my point is that there's several areas that we've talked to our elected officials about, but my big focus are those two things, obviously. Yes, ma'am.
Markwayne, a month or so ago, you responded to a survey from Immigration Reform for Oklahoma now. And in that survey, you said that you think we need to make it easier for immigrants to come here legally? No, you misquoted me, ma'am. What I said is that we got to fix the paper system. If the system is so hard for you to get illegal and you incur to come over to the United States legally, then you're encouraging them to come over illegally. If you can build a tunnel, dig a tunnel. Did you read what Carol printed?
No.
In her newsletter?
No.
Well, she printed that you said you think we need to make it easier for immigrants to come here legally. You do not use E-Verify in your business. And there was one other thing.
Well,
you do not favor amnesty with people that are here.
I do not favor amnesty for people that are here. Well, let me back this up and I'll answer all your questions. First of all, no, I don't use E-Verify or whatever it is that they want you to use, because all of our employees are so regulated, they are all required to have a license from the state of Oklahoma before you can work for us. Not a driver's license, they gotta have an apprentice license, or a journeyman's license, or a contractor's, or an HVAC license. So, and since it's a skilled trade, I probably have 2 Hispanics that work for us, and they're awesome workers, but we run a very strong background check. We're required to run a background check. It costs me over $125 per employee because we work in customers' houses. And that we already do. There's no point in having to do that. What I said about making it easier for them to get here, you would quote me properly, because what I said is as long as they can dig a tunnel to get over here faster, then they can fill out the paperwork. They're going to dig a tunnel. And if we need to fix the system to get them here legally, then that's what needs to be done. You can talk about securing our borders, and obviously they need to be secured, but if I can go on a missions trip to Peru, like I have multiple times a year, and I forget to call American Express, and I use it over there, I can easily get a phone call. Don't tell me we can't track a human being. We're talking about a piece of plastic. We can make the system right. The problem is people want to play party politics with it. And it's not politically correct to really get the system fixed. And instead, both parties want to make the other parties look bad so they can say we can get the Hispanic vote. It's time to quit playing party politics and get the problem fixed.
Exactly.
And you get the problem fixed by fixing the root of the solution. You know, used to when they had the workers permit where they could migrate, the migrant workers permit, the reason why they quit doing that was because 2% out of 100%, 2% was jumping ship. And now we have it almost completely turned around, and we probably got 98% that's coming in here illegally. Boy, they did a good job. Our government does awesome when they get involved in stuff.
Yeah.
It's all about party politics. And unfortunately, people like that can misquote you and make you sound